Hi, I'm Nille. Today I want to show you how to make this dress, this red dress. It is for a little tough Viking girl, actually called Saga. Clever parrots. I have made it like one cut, and then a triangle cut, and then I have this sleeve that are my favorite, where there's this triangle gusset in the back and the seam allowance. Now the seam, the sleeve seam is here. It's made of wool from historical fabric store. And of course there's under a linen dress, linen long shift. That one there is, it's the same as for adults. I'll put a link in the description to the tutorials for adults for this one, because it's the same. And both of the pattern sheets goes on one pattern sheet for girls. I have that in 3 groups, but I'll tell you about that in another one. It's made from wool from historical fabric store. Very nice Wagner that I dyed with madder. And this time I have made a decoration a little other way. In Birka and in also in Oseberg, there's found silk fragments. Some of them in Birka is obviously the end of the sleeve, like here, the green one. And some in Oseberg grave can be the same. There's silk sewn to the edge, and at one time in the Oseberg it's also next to a madder dyed diamond, broken diamond twill. So it has been a very beautiful dress. And then I've had a very simple tablet woven band, and this time not next to it, but just a little outside for it. So that's what we'll do in this video. Happy sewing! For this dress, I have made the pattern sheet on a kit for children, or for girls. This time girls, I made another one for boys. And you can download this pattern sheet, link below, from my web shop. And you cut everything out with 1 centimeter apart. Approximately a half inch seam allowance all over. And remember to put in the marks. I use safety pins, where the marks are on the patterns. Then it's easier to gather pieces in the right way. It's a very nice 2 twill that I've felted a little, so it's soft and warm, I guess. Then the first thing I do is sew the side goudet to the back piece. The reason why I start on the back is because then I want the goudet to sit inside the dress, not as a patch outside. And if I start with the back and put it in there, the natural way the seam shall turn here that I like is coming without you thinking on the front if you start with the back. So the seam allowance should be the biggest on the goudet for a flat filled seam. And then I have my mark, important to put them in, and you don't have to think so much when you put the pieces together. So now forward stitches all the way up, and then I fold over the seam allowance, open up, fold over and overcast the other way. Same procedure in both sides. See you in a minute. Now I continue the flat fill seam until I get up maybe 1.5 centimeter from here. Then I stop putting it under really, and I just sew it. And now stop 3 times on top of each other, and then now I shall sew the front piece to this, but first I do cut in the seam allowance on the back piece so I can lie it flat, you see, and then I cut off this point there. So now I can put the other side, if I do that in both sides, of course. Done. So now I should put the other side on. With the mark, where the mark should go, and then I can take this out. And again, I want the corset or godet to be the biggest one. That is why it was smart to start on the back, because now it comes naturally in there. And now I sew all the way up to the armpit, which is there. Same seam, 4 forward stitches and then 4 lower and overcast, both sides. It is exactly the same way I sew in this little triangle, which is also a godet really, in the sleeve. So, see you soon. And the next thing is to sew the shoulder seam. And here you will have the back piece to be the longest seam allowance. And then you sew with the same flat felt seam as before. Exactly the same. Both sides, of course. There you go. So now it's time for the sleeves. And I sew the gusset in the sleeves exactly the same way as I did the godet in the body. And I make sure that it is the gusset that are the longest seam allowance for the flat felt seam. And I always pin both of them at the same time to make sure to make a left and a right sleeve. So, first flat felt seam there, and then after that I take the whole sleeve and sew the whole the gusset and the sleeve in one. That's it. So now I have sewn the side. This is the inside, so now it's on the side. And I have also sewn the shoulders, and then I made the sleeves in the exact same way as the side. So first I made this little one with flat felt seam, and then I made this one with flat felt seam. And making sure that the seam allowance on the gusset is always the biggest, so it is lying under here. So, next thing is to put this in the body. And you have the mark for the side seam. There. And then you find the top of the sleeve. The sleeve will be a little bigger than the body, and that is good, because then since we are not square like this shoulder arm, we are a little rounded, that this sleeve are a little bigger. Make sure it gets a little rounding. It simply fits better. It's also much more comfortable. So stretch it a little out and pin it. And here, because I want to have the sleeve on top of body and not like it's stuck into the body. I want the seam allowance to be the biggest on the body. You see? Here I put in, this is the body, this is the sleeve. And then just pin it all the way around and sew it with flat fill seam again. After that I will decorate this dress a little more for this fine little girl, and I will show you how it's done, how I do it. So see you in half an hour.